Welcome to College Football Monday, a Sons of Saturday live show brought to you by Jack and Coke. I'm your host, Pete B. I've got my co-host, Sam Jesse here, and this is season 3 of College Football Monday. We come to you each and every week. Just a reminder to go over the national perspective of college football, but also with a heavy dose of what the Hokies are up to. I'd say it's college football with a Hokies slant, Sam.
It's a little like a shot of Hokies
to
go along with your drink. Yeah,
absolutely. In this episode, going to recap week 0, what happened this past Saturday, some of which Sam and I were together for. We'll prime you for the Hokies opener. That shirt is awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty
sick.
And
we're going to provide our 12-team playoff predictions. Not the bracket, but we will have the teams by the conferences as we did last year. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But to kick us off, Sam, give us a cheers.
You and I were at what I consider to be my favorite rugby bar in New York City, the Pig and Whistle in Manhattan. It was an awesome time. Our bartender, did you get her name? Our bartender was phenomenal.
No idea. She was great.
Kept the Guinness flowing. They also had some really solid in-house. They had a really solid amber ale in-house. We'll have to do that. The Two Deep show is a beer review. If I can get up there and find some distributed. But yeah, cheers to what was a great opening Saturday in college football, Pete. We are back.
Cheers, buddy. Oh yeah, got a little hazy guy tonight. We're going over our beers a little bit later too. Make sure to hop in the chat if you have any questions. I'm out of practice from this because we haven't done a live show in a while, Sam, but we are taking comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, all of the above. We are on our march to 5,000 subscribers, trying to get there by the end of the season. And the sooner the better. So right into week 0, Sam, we were naming all of the weeks of the Virginia Tech season with Ty Hildenbrandt on the show with Billy I did. And, you know, most of them, it's like an S, blank Saturday, like survival Saturday, that kind of thing. I would call this past weekend sloppy Saturday. Because
it was a little sloppy.
The main game was sloppy. And then Hawaii got a little sloppy as well. And before we get to the games, did you see the SEC is going to a 9-game schedule?
Yes, that is huge news. And I think it is one that is very much more politically driven than one that is like good for the SEC. I mean, this is Greg Sankey playing the long game and trying to figure out a way to keep his boys on top along with the Big Ten. So it is really interesting. They're going to have to do a lot of weird scheduling work after they just did a bunch of scheduling work when they brought in Texas and Oklahoma. And I think, you know, the downstream effect is that, hey, the Hokies, you have games against Alabama on the docket. You know, how does that get impacted by this? We don't know. And so I think it is a lot of downstream effects of this that might end up leading to some pretty big realignment in college football.
Yeah, I'm shocked they did it, to be honest, especially right now, because they're always talking about how tough the regular season is, and now it's going to get tougher, which I actually love because it means these SEC teams are going to catch more losses. Part of me thinks they don't do this unless they get an assurance from the committee that strength of schedule is going to be very important.
Yeah. And I think what's also interesting is you look at the, marquee out of conference games. And I put that in quotes because that was literally the quote that we have to have one of those. And yes, Maddie B, I'm not on beer tonight. I'm a company man and I went with a Jack and Coke.
Oh, okay.
I poured it in a glass.
In the Sons of Saturday glass. I am drinking some beer. So I don't know I can do one every 10 minutes, but I appreciate the comment, Maddie.
I have a great one on Wednesday, so tune in for that. But yeah, you look at the rivalries that they play out of conference. You know, you have South Carolina plays Clemson every year. Georgia plays Georgia Tech every year. Florida plays one, if not both, of Florida State, Miami every year. Kentucky, Louisville, etc. They have that covered, right? I think they're just saying it out loud now. Like, those teams don't have to do something extra. What I think is going to be really interesting is a team like Texas. Do they revamp a rivalry with Texas Tech? Or do they go out and play Ohio State and Michigan on the road like they have back-to-back years playing Michigan on the road and Ohio State on the road? Are they going to continue to do that? Or are they going to say, maybe not? Maybe not going to do those. Exactly.
I don't think they will. And I think that's what has to give here. Although there was some language in there about them having to play a power opponent, right?
I think it has to be a power opponent, but Pete, not all power opponents are created equal.
They are not.
And I believe that these athletic directors are pretty darn good at their job, and they're going to find a way to make this in a way that behooves their
Northwestern's
programs.
going to be playing a lot of SEC teams.
Yeah.
Well, the
Northwestern's a
ACC
great
is probably going to follow suit here, right? I mean, we will be at 9 games in a matter of weeks to a year. Like they're gonna make this change.
Yeah, I think the scheduling agreement with Notre Dame makes that a little bit interesting as well. Notre Dame has to play, I believe it's 4 ACC teams every year. That might be a way that they can make the odd number of teams playing 9 conference games a season, make that math work, because currently it doesn't. Notre Dame might help that out. So Notre Dame, I think, might even be more of a pseudo ACC team now or when that happens. They'll be more of an ACC team then than they are even now as a pseudo ACC team.
Yeah. So, well, one thing was interesting when they agreed to that new series with Clemson. Do you remember when that happened over the summer? Like Notre Dame and Clemson are going to play each other a bunch of times. I thought that was going to be one of the ACC matchups. I think that's in addition to the ACC matchups. And so
Yeah,
it's going to end up being 6 games that Clemson's playing against ACC teams.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that.
Sorry, Clemson. Notre Dame is playing against ACC teams.
I mean, there are going to be years if South Carolina continues this trajectory and, Georgia Tech continues that trajectory and Notre Dame as well, who of course should stay Notre Dame. Clemson might have a schedule that's tougher than like 90% of the SEC.
Dude,
like it could fall like that because they play Georgia Tech every year. Louisville, Florida State, they usually play those teams. South Carolina and Notre Dame.
It's no
You're looking
joke,
at
man.
a pretty tough one. Yep.
It's tough. All right, let's get into week 0, the first game, Farmageddon. We were watching in New York, and Iowa State won a slop fest. It was 24-21 over K-State. Turnovers early. Couldn't really see the lines on the field because the paint wasn't very good, and there was rain, and they tried to repaint them. That didn't work. They definitely need some help on that next year. I don't know. They should be used to rain on fields in that region, but that being said, it was a mess. And the first 5 drives of the game, Sam, were punt, muff on that punt, fumble, punt, and that's when things kind of finally started to get going a little bit. It was 7-7, and then the second touchdown by Iowa State was beautiful. Like Rocco Beck dropped a dime in there.
Rocco Beck looked really good. I mean, he didn't play really good, but he had some big throws. And I think he had more big throws than Avery Johnson, and that might have been the difference. We have to talk about 4th and 1, and you go empty set shotgun.
Yeah.
I don't like that, man. I don't like that one bit, especially Avery Johnson, who's not really a power runner. He's more of a finesse runner. They get called short. It was a missed call by the refs in the replay as well. He clearly made the line to gain. But after that, like Kansas State's defense just quit. They let up a ton of yards after that play, and that was the difference in the game.
It's a shame that that call looms so large, but there was a lot of mistakes made. One, the call itself, like you said, I don't think that was a great call. And those key downs, those 4th down plays were pivotal. I mean, Iowa State was 3 of 3 on 4th down. Kansas State was 1 of 4. No, Iowa State wasn't great on 3rd down. I think they were like 3 of 14 in the game, but that one that they really needed later on, they hit. And I think that was like a 3rd and 1 call, and it went over the top. Yeah. And so when it counted, Matt Campbell got it done. And I thought, to your point earlier, Rocco Becht and Avery Johnson both played really well. They both acquitted themselves well. And I think Johnson's teammates let him down.
They did. His wide receivers were terrible all game. And they also had, I mean, right after it happened, I pointed it out to you, but there was a dropped pick I mean, the Kansas State defensive back, it literally hit his number square in the chest. And that was the moment where if they make that interception, they're in control of the second half and they're probably going to win that game. Dropped it. Iowa State gets points off of it. They end up losing by possession. I think the ability, it's so funny. We talk about all this advanced stuff and coaching, and it's literally football usually comes down to like which team catches the ball. and for Kansas State, they had way too many drops in this game.
Absolutely. And it kind of felt like Iowa State was controlling the game, but that's only because Kansas State kept shooting themselves in the foot. And then Kansas State would make a big play and they'd come back. And then Iowa State would just like slow and steady and make another drive and make one more play. And lo and behold, they win. And then after the game, Edwards didn't come back in after that muff punt. Dylan Edwards didn't come back in the game. And then we see Johnson's family fighting outside the stadium on a video, which that's not great, but that's insult to injury or injury to insult, one of the two.
It's not great vibes for Kansas State after this game, right? Like you feel like Edwards, going down was not great. And he's such an X factor to that team that they really need him for this offense to work how they want it to work. Obviously, the wide receivers didn't have a great game. Defensively, Kansas State, I think they let up way too many balls deep. Like if we're looking further and further into this, I am hammering the opposing offense against Kansas State's DBs. They did not look good in man coverage. Way too many busted coverages. They were weak on the line of scrimmage.
Well, you could say the same thing about Iowa State's
You
DBs.
could. You very could. You very well could. Like, I don't think either one, like the real winner of this game was Baylor, Utah, TCU, and Texas Tech and Arizona State. Like they're coming out of this feeling like, okay, those two guys, we can handle them.
Well, remember what Colby Dance said on our win totals pod? He was like, a 3-point loss in Ireland could very well affect who plays for the Big 12 title. And he just didn't feel like that was right. Like this game should have been in the States at one of their stadiums. And it's true. Like this is going to potentially have Big 12 title implications. And it's a 3-point game in Ireland in a slop fest where the lines weren't painted on the field and the refs got it wrong. Like I do feel bad for Kansas State a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it was a really evenly played game in a lot of ways. But you also look at it like Kansas State for a good portion of that game looked like the better team. And then every opportunity that they had to really seize momentum and, go up 2 scores or something like that, or get a big stop, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. And for me, like it is very similar to the Georgia Tech Florida State game last year, where it was a really close game. It was kind of ugly. And the difference ended up being Georgia Tech had the ball last and Georgia Tech made bigger plays on 3rd and 4th down. And in this game, Iowa State, they were bad on 3rd down offensively. I think, 24% for the game. Kansas State was 1 of 4 on 4th down.
Yeah.
There's the difference. I mean, they go 3 of 4. They win this game by 2 touchdowns, maybe.
Every Ireland game, save for the Notre Dame Navy game, is ugly. I mean, that game was ugly and that Notre Dame just killed them, but Notre Dame looked good on offense. Remember the Nebraska Northwestern one? Like that was kind of a sloppy game.
That was
Georgia Tech last year was sloppy. This one, like I kind of like the Ireland idea, but I feel like it's kind of run its course. Like I feel like we need to be done with this.
I think it's a little much.
Yeah.
Like I think
it's hard for those kids getting over there on Thursday and then trying to play the game.
Yeah, and doing that week 0 with a conference game. They've all been conference games except for Notre Dame Navy, which is an annual rivalry game. It's just too much, I think. And if you make this game, I know you want it to be 2 brands so you can kind of sell it. But if you make this game, Virginia Tech and, I don't know.
Well, don't drag us into this.
Well, I mean, look, make it fine. Make 2 random teams, make it Pittsburgh and Nebraska are playing.
Okay.
Whatever. That makes a little more sense because you add novelty to a weird matchup already. You can't have Farmageddon not played in Manhattan.
It was silly to have a rivalry like that, which is so Midwestern to not play it in the States.
It's the equivalent of Virginia Tech and West Virginia playing in Ireland.
Yeah, that would be stupid. All right, so we got a comment here from McNeese. Have Notre Dame parade around over there. Don't do conference games.
Man, if Notre Dame gets another neutral site game, they'll never play a true road game again. They already only play 3 a year.
But Notre Dame, they're the Fighting Irish. It makes sense for them to play a game in Ireland.
And they're also the biggest brand.
They're the biggest
globally in the sport.
Right.
So
one of the biggest, at least. Yes. Globally, you're probably right.
Globally, I think they are.
Just because the Catholic tie-in and everything else. But all right, let's move on to Hawaii. They take down Stanford 23-20. I watched some of this one after I returned home. Sam's got the shirt on, looks great. Stanford actually took a lead in the 4th quarter, and I told you I passed out on the couch right after they scored, thinking Stanford's going to hold on to win. Well, Hawaii got 2 field goals, including one at the buzzer. They end up winning 23-20, and there was a bad interception by the Stanford quarterback that led to the first one.
It was a great play by the Hawaii defender, though. And he has a cool story. Like, he's from Hawaii, went to UNLV, transferred back to Hawaii. He made a great play on that. Micah Alejado, dog. I mean, he got a nasty little injury there early in the second half, came back, was limping, shades of Byron Leftwich, limping from play to play. Just
good call.
Made his throws, did his job. The run and shoot worked. I'll tell you, outside of the first drive of the game, Stanford got the drive extended with some penalties that were questionable. The refs loved calling roughing the passer for Stanford. I think there was 3 of them, and they were all the like hitting the head of the quarterback when you're trying to sack them ones. That extended the drive for Stanford. They got a field goal. First play of the game for Hawaii. They're backed up on their own goal line because their returner fair caught the ball after it bounced.
What the hell?
Crazy.
Fair catch on the 1.
It's incredibly stupid. And then you have sack, fumble, scoop, score for Stanford. All of a sudden it's 10-0.
Yeah.
And then boom, Hawaii outplayed them the rest of the game. Stanford to say they looked vanilla would be a disgrace to the flavor of vanilla.
I mean, it was bad. That forget the interception. That quarterback, Gus Gulbranson, that guy stinks.
What's funny is he has like a very crazy Hail Mary throw when he was at Oregon State to beat Stanford, I believe. And then ends up QBing for Stanford. And he's like 25 years old. Like, he didn't even play football last year.
See, I don't know any of this.
I think he came out of like college football retirement to be their quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's not working. They don't look good. Like, Hawaii shot themselves in the foot and had a bunch of dumb penalties and still won this game.
Those teams are both bad though.
Yeah, Hawaii could go 6-6, but
could they? Stanford's terrible. Like, they might be a dumpster fire, man. Like, they don't even have a quarterback.
It's week 0.
I know.
We know, but I think Stanford looked like they had an install. Like, Stanford was running a high school offense.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Micah Ford, their running back, was the lone bright spot. He could single-handedly get them their 1 win this year. Like, I don't know how many games they're going to win, but it's probably not going to be too many. But Micah Ford, I feel bad for that guy. Like, he probably should have left because he's actually good. 113 rush yards, 4.3 yards per carry and a touchdown. ACC just off to a roaring start, losing. What do you know? G5 road game, Sam. What happens?
Hawaii is now 9-0 against the spread in their last 9 home games. Just pointing that out there.
Don't go play G5 teams on the road. Don't do it.
I think it was like 92 degrees too. Like, you're just begging for a loss there.
Yeah. I got a comment from Maddie here about Virginia Tech and about placing a bet on Moneyline, Virginia Tech over South Carolina. We'll address that in VT Corner.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mac and cheese. I'm sorry. I'm thinking McNeese State.
Max and cheese.
Max and cheese. It's almost like these teams could have used an additional week of practice.
Yeah, I don't. So Hawaii starts a lot earlier than most schools because they do trimesters. So like, their spring practice is earlier and their fall camp is earlier. I believe Stanford might be trimester as well, but
they've got a funny schedule for sure.
It's a West Coast
quarters,
thing.
Right?
They might be. Yeah. And I think like UCLA is too. So that's why UCLA sometimes plays week 0, but they get the same amount of practice, but I think it is very, very clear neither of those teams was super ready to play that game.
The only way Stanford's getting to the over this year, which I think was like 3.5, is if Andrew Luck pulls a Chad Powers and ends up on the field as their quarterback. Like, he should go get a fake nose and get out there on the field.
If you found out that he was, so let's say, their win total is still 3.5. They've already lost 1 game. If it comes back like Andrew Luck is going to suit up and be their quarterback for the rest of these, do you take them to go 4-5? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 4-8. Yeah.
Because if you remember, Andrew Luck could run too. Yeah. Like, remember some of those punishing runs?
Somebody.
Yeah. All right. Kansas whips Fresno State. We're not going to spend too much time on these last 2 games, but Kansas opens their new stadium. Jalen Daniels is back, at least for now.
Yeah.
18 of 20 passing.
Mhm.
An 87 QBR, 3 touchdowns on 47 rush yards on top. The thing with Daniels, and I know I can already see it in your face, the guy is like RG3. He doesn't know how to
He
take a
is.
hit.
He's Superman. He's Superman, but without the like indestructibility of Superman.
Right. Like RG3 would just like he gets hit and it's like his body exploded. Like that's
Yeah.
what Jaden Daniels, like Jalen Daniels, he's going to take too many hits.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of times he's so good at moving on from his first and second read. Like you can see his eyes move around the field and he'll roll out of the pocket. Like he's a very, very good quarterback. He's just got to stay on the field.
Yeah.
And Kansas defensively, they were okay. They still struggle tackling a bit, but they were okay defensively. They have some good wide receiver players. They've done a good job keeping the talent, alive with that program without recruiting at a very high level. Fresno State, kind of a rebuilding year for them. EJ Warner's just not good.
Dude, he's not good at all.
He wasn't good at he was okay at Temple, wasn't good at Rice, didn't look good in this first game.
I don't understand why he's a starting quarterback on any D1 team. Like if you look at his numbers at Temple and Rice, it's like 120 quarterback rating.
Yeah, I mean Fresno State had 3.72 yards per play. And Kansas is not a great defense. So
no. But
it might be a long year for the Bulldogs.
It was a nice start for Kansas after last year having to play those games at Arrowhead and kind of being all over the place and suffering a lot of injuries. Really nice start. And if Daniels stays on the field, they are going to have an effect on the Big 12 race. They're going to get somebody.
They got a little bit of mojo as a program right now.
They do.
They do.
I mean,
and they're going to...
Leipold's a good coach.
They could have a like really, really exciting 7-5 season.
They could.
And I know we're so focused on the playoff and winning championships now in sports, but like they could have a really fun, eventful, successful 7-5 season.
I mean, Kansas is not far removed from winning like one game a year. Like,
no, they're not.
Like Leipold has done an amazing job that they're going to compete in just about every Big 12 game.
I mean, they did last year. They lost a ton of one-score games last year. So we'll see how they are once we get to Big 12 play. They were the much better team in this one, but overall, really good for them and happy that they got to open 3/4 of that new stadium with a W.
I do like the way they did the seats and everything. It looks cool. UNLV struggled, but they pulled out the win against Idaho State, that juggernaut. Calandria and Alex Orji both played, much more Calandria in this one. He had 93 yards rushing in addition to his passing yards, but the Idaho State quarterback passed for 380 yards.
UNLV's defense might be trash. Like this is the reason why I don't feel terrible about Hawaii, like going 6-6 and making a bowl game. Like you saw what Fresno State looked like on offense. We just saw what UNLV looks like on defense. Like people saying UNLV was a like sleeper team to make the playoffs. I don't know what you were looking at. This isn't close to the same team last year. And unless Dan Mullen has like a really solid recruiting class at Mississippi State that was gone before he got there, or Florida talent, I don't see it with UNLV.
I mean, they got kind of straight up lucky to beat Idaho State. They were down 10-0. They won by 1 touchdown. They'll be okay, but they're not competing for any Mountain West.
Very stuff. Like quintessential. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Yeah.
And those are 2 very, very different quarterbacks as well. I just don't see it right now for UNLV, but we shouldn't overreact to week 0.
No.
And we should give credit to Idaho State because that's a program who was awful for the FCS and is now getting better and better. But yeah, when you beat the 3rd best team from the state of Idaho by 7 points, not great.
Yeah. Western Kentucky beat Sam Houston 41-24. This is the last game. I don't have much here. The Hilltoppers pass the ball well, right? Like they've got a nice quarterback.
They do.
And we'll see what happens in Conference USA. Are they both in Conference USA? Or is
yes, I believe so. I might be totally blanking, and
I think so sorry. I think it is.
Western Kentucky, I think, is going to challenge Liberty for that title.
They should.
I think they are. They got some good players.
All right. As I said at the top of the show, College Football Monday is brought to you by Jack and Coke. You can see the Jack and Coke can right on your screen. Jack and Coke has a new variety pack with cherry, vanilla, and original. That is pretty awesome. They're also introducing Jack and Blackberry coming. It's either out now or coming out very, very soon. And we know they have the Jack and Ginger as well. So a lot of varieties, but Jack and Coke, 2 legends, 1 can. They came together, available in your local grocery and convenience stores. Make sure when you're drinking those, always to drink responsibly, but the ready to drink aspect of it, Sam, it's just like you don't need to bring the bottle and you got the liquor bottle and the glass bottle and you're trying to whatever. No, you just grab the cans, they're ice cold, crack them at the tailgate, and you're good to go. You get a little bit of sugar, you get a little bit of that pop. Of course, there is 0 sugar as well, but you get that sweetness and you get that Tennessee whiskey right in 1 can. It's fantastic.
And you know what? You could wrap it in a brand new 2 deep koozie.
You can. And if you come to Atlanta, I'm going to be handing them out. They're going to, well, I guess I won't have a hoodie on because it's probably going to be warm, but my pockets will be stuffed with koozies.
Pockets will be stuffed with koozies. And yep, 2 legends, 1 can.
1 can. Jack and Coke. Make sure, give me, if you dap me up in Atlanta, there will be the koozie like right in the dap.
Yeah. Efficiency.
All right. Week 1 is stacked, Sam. We need to go over some of these games that are coming up week 1. The best matchups of the week I have listed out here, and then we might talk about some additional ones. There are 3 top 10 matchups. And the first one at high noon, which is a little unusual for such a good game, but Texas at Ohio State. Ohio State 1.5 point favorites as I'm looking at it now. Number 1 versus number 3 if you go to the AP poll. Here you go, Arch. First start, go to Columbus.
Well, I don't think he started a road game yet. He started against.
Did he start again? I don't know.
Louisiana Monroe and Mississippi State.
Did he really?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So this is a bit of an uptick in competition. I can't wait to watch this game. I absolutely I'm so excited for this game. I don't think I'm going to bet it because I just want to sit down and watch it.
And I mean, it's nearing a pick 'em. So it's not too far off of that. I am skeptical of Arch Manning being a Manning and living up to the Manning name. I am skeptical of it. I'm sure he's going to be good. Is he going to be elite? And that's really what it comes down to.
How much of this do we judge based off of 1 game at the Horseshoe against the defending national champions who have one of the best players in the country who just happens to be a defensive back?
Right. I mean, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and it is. And also a fun stat about Ohio State, they rarely give up big quarterback games. Last year, they only gave up 2 touchdowns passing to 3 quarterbacks.
What's the over-under in this game? Can you look that up real quick?
I can look that up right
because
now.
With these defenses, Texas's defense is loaded up, ready to go. Ohio State, I think that's going to be a very strong side of the ball for them, probably the stronger side of the ball. I feel like this is going to be priced down already, but I'm curious what the over-under is.
47.5. The over is favored at -112.
Okay. So you're getting plus money for under?
Yeah. And I'm also seeing Texas plus 2.5 right now. Oh, no, you're getting -108. It's VIG'd. So you're getting -108 under. Over is at -112. So, I mean, you're looking right now at a game that's 24-21 is the football score you're looking at in this game, favoring Ohio State. I do think it is. If I was betting this game, if your bet here is Arch Manning legit or is he not? If he's legit, Texas is the better roster and the better team, and you're getting plus points with him. If he's not, then you're going to pick Ohio State. It is that binary of a decision for me.
I also think these Texas kids, their last game of the season last year, for the ones that are returning, was a loss to Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is
a painful one too. I mean,
this is some revenge factor here. Julian Sayin is the starter for Ohio State. What's he going to be like? I mean, this is his first start too.
And he's playing the best defense in the country his first game.
Right.
We talk about how hard this is for Arch going up to the Horseshoe. Congratulations, Julian Sayin. You get to play the best defense in the country game 1.
I mean, it's tough on both sides. So I like the under. I don't love it, but I do like it if I had to pick one for sure to agree with Chris in the comments. All right, let's move to number 9, LSU at number 4, Clemson. Clemson 4-point favorites at home. This is in my opinion, a pressure cooker. The
Yeah.
battle of the Death Valley Tigers. That's what we got here. We got two different Death Valleys. We got two different Tigers, and they're meeting up in Clemson, South Carolina. There's pressure on Clemson only in the respect that if they don't win this game, they will kind of be taken out of that elite tier in college football.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't win this game, they kind of have to be perfect or close to perfect throughout the rest of the season. LSU has a ton of opportunities. Now, LSU, I don't think can play with its food very much, because if they lose this game, now you have to go like 10-1 with a gauntlet of an SEC schedule. If you're Clemson, you're saying, all right, if we lose this game, we still have the whole ACC ahead of us. So
Right.
you can paint
You can
that
still make the
picture as
playoff,
well.
no problem.
I think this is one of the games that we're going to, and I really hope, because the committee has this tendency, both basketball and football, I really hope we don't forget the result of this game when it comes time for selections.
They don't. And think about when Texas beat Alabama a couple years ago, and then the Florida State thing happened. Bama beat Georgia in the SEC title. They still honored that Texas over Bama win in the football playoff rankings. Like, I mean, no matter what happens throughout the year, if these teams are neck and neck going to the playoff, the winner is going to be ahead of the other one.
I think it is very likely that these teams are neck and neck because, I think LSU is going to have a really good year. The Loch Ness Monster, Garrett Nussmeier, is.
I'm
like
not as convinced.
You're not as convinced. I'm kind of convinced he's going to put up numbies. I don't know if he's.
I
gonna
like
be like a great
Nussmeier. I just mean LSU in general.
Oh, LSU in general. See, I am. I'm big on LSU. I'm big on LSU to be quintessential LSU. I don't know if that means they win a national title, but it does seem like every year that they have like one of those teams, they are rocket to the moon.
Yeah, it's like they kind of are whatever, and then all of a sudden they're unbelievable. Yeah. And that could happen this year. I think in this game, Clemson's defensive line is the difference. They should pressure Nuss all day, and I expect them with Tom Allen, now the DC, to be much better against the run. And so I think it could be a tough day for the LSU offense. That's not to say I don't think they'll put up some points. I just think that Clemson will outlast them, but give me LSU +4.
Give you LSU +4. I believe I have a bet on this game that I placed months ago, and I need to look it up so I can get exactly what it is. But I took Clemson, and the reason I took Clemson because of the line of scrimmage, and I'm a little bit worried about that Clemson offensive line, and I also am a little bit worried that LSU's defense hasn't been elite over the past few years. They've been getting better. I just feel like if they give up a couple easy touchdowns on the road, it's going to be very similar to other games we've seen LSU play under Brian Kelly, where it's like there's just no defense, and it doesn't matter what Garrett Nussmeier does, right? I mean, we saw that when they had Jaden Daniels at quarterback, who was unbelievable.
Right. It was like one of the worst defensive years for LSU.
Yeah. And if you, it's almost one of those things, like if you're too good on offense, it can hurt your defense. And they might be in that situation this year. And I'm not sold on what they have defensively.
Their offensive line is a
line.
question mark. LSU's offensive line is a big question mark.
That's not what I want to have as a question mark going to play Clemson at Death Valley.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
kind of what I think is going to happen in this game. I'm not saying that what you want or what you think could happen with LSU couldn't still happen. Like, they can lose this game, and the SEC is getting 4 teams in the playoff this year. You know it, because they only got 3 last year, and all they did was, stamp their feet all off season about how they have the hardest conference. So they're going to get 4 in this year, and there's only 16 teams. So a quarter of the SEC is going to get in the goddamn playoff, and LSU could easily be one of them, even if they lose this one. Let's move to number 6, Notre Dame, at number 10, Miami. Big ACC implications in this one. This is Sunday night, and Miami catching points at home here. They are underdogs by 2.5. This is a really tough one to kind of handicap. It really is.
And it's the toughest of the ones we've talked so far.
Absolutely. I mean, Notre Dame, who went to the national championship last year, a lot of questions in terms of a new quarterback. yes, they have the running back, but there's a lot of change on that roster. But maybe with Marcus Freeman on the uptick, people are believing in him. Um, maybe a lot of people don't think like Miami has a lot of change too, but
Yeah,
they have a more proven quarterback.
that's true. And I also think they have so much talent that they've recruited and gotten in the transfer portal. Like, yeah, they lost a lot of guys. They also backfilled them with a lot of guys. And I think it's another game similar to LSU Clemson where the line of scrimmage will tell the story because the two strengths of this Miami team, their offensive line and their defensive line. I like those as my two strengths as a team. Also, Carson Beck, I know he gets a lot of crap from some games at Georgia. One of the better quarterbacks of the last 3 years in college football.
He's been good.
And he's
Very
got
good.
a lot of talent to throw to and a lot of guys to run the ball. And defensively, I don't think Miami can be worse than they were last year.
Well, no, they went and got the DC from Minnesota, who was good last year, although a relatively short resume. They're going to be better. They went out and they addressed a bunch of things in the portal. They bring him in. It's going to be better. And like you said, what does Notre Dame do well? They have Jeremiah Love. Like they want to run the football. But Miami has a good linebacking core and a good D line. Yeah. And I feel like if they can neutralize that and make CJ Carr making his first start in Hard Rock, which say what you want about the Miami fans, that place will be packed for opening night. It will be loud and hard and hot, and it will be hard to play.
And I think, Caleb Fields are saying line to a pick 'em. Right now I'm seeing Miami plus 2.5, money line plus 110. If you're going for a little bit of like value pick.
Oh, he said link to the pick 'em.
Oh, link to the pick'em.
That's
Got
our
it. Line. I read lines.
The 2D pick'em is the 2D pick'em is live.
Yes, I don't.
If you go to our Twitter, you can find it. It's there, or it's on our Instagram bio. Sorry.
Yes, and we'll tweet it out right after this as well, just so everyone can get that link again. I don't have my glasses on because they create a glare, so I'll chalk it up to that.
Sam's flying blind. I think Beck will have to play great to get the win because of the new pieces on offense, but the run game for Miami with that offensive line, one of the best in college football, it's going to be strong. They can use play action. I think Miami, I'm taking Miami's. If I can get 2.5 points, I'm taking those points. I'm not going to go money line, but I will take the points with Miami in this one.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think if you're going to bet it, you go for the home team as dogs in this one with a more proven quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Alabama at Florida State. We're moving down a tier in games. Those top three are really awesome, but Alabama is going to Tallahassee. Plus 13.5 are the home dog Seminoles. I expect Bama to stuff Castellanos in a locker for the majority of this game. He could break off like a long run or a play here or there. He's got talent. But Ty Simpson has issues too on the other side. I mean, he's got to deal with a Florida State defense that will be hungry.
Yeah, but he also has a lot better players around him.
He does.
Ryan Williams is going to feast in this game. That Alabama defense is going to be much improved from last year. I think this is like the line is 13.5. I think I have Alabama 12.5 from earlier in the summer. I think you could you could give me 16.5 and I'm like, yeah, I'm taking Alabama. You could give me like 18.5. I'm like, dude, I still might take Alabama.
I think this has 38-17 like written all over.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it. Like you can't, like Florida State's problems are so much deeper than like, oh, well, we got Squirrel White in the transfer portal. Like, all right, Squirrel White's awesome, but like that's not going to fix your issues now. And every day that passes is a day further away from their 12-0 season. And I'm going to need to see it on the field before I even give these guys a shot against a team like Alabama.
And I mean, the Castellanos thing is also linked back to what all the crap that he said. Alabama's going to want to murder him. Like it's not going to be good. Yeah. VT in South Carolina, we will talk about that in VT Corner. Obviously one of the biggest games of the weekend to us, but also nationally. It will be in its own window at 3 p.m. on Sunday. TCU at UNC. UNC plus 3 in this one. They're at home. This is on Monday night. I legitimately have no idea what's going to happen in this game, but I think TCU is going to whip them. Like I think that's where I'm leaning is like this could get a little ugly for Bill Belichick in game one.
Yeah, I think if you're UNC, let's play the UNC card right here. I think your key is Bill Belichick is going to cook up something that's too much for a college quarterback schematically, and that's going to be enough for UNC to win this game. I think UNC talent wise is much further behind than what people think. Yeah, they went 8-4 last year, and it was a good 8-4. They did a good job getting there. Omari and Hampton got them there. I don't think the guys around him are that talented. They might take a step up at the quarterback position with Gio Lopez, but Gio Lopez has a lot of Jalen Daniels, excuse me. Gosh, that's going to be hard on you.
It's tough.
When he gets hit, he gets hit. And like, he's going to make some plays, but I don't think you're going to get the same guy physically play in and play out. And I'm a little bit worried about that as well with an offensive line that seems to be pretty beat up right now. So short quarterback who gets hit really hard versus a beat up offensive line going up against a quarterback in TCU that's going to score points. I would lean Horned Frogs in this one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a world where Bill Belichick writes the perfect script to stop Sonny Dykes, and they go out there and they win by a touchdown or something. But that would shock me way more than a TCU blowout.
Yeah, I think so. And you know how the big question with UNC is like, how quickly do these college players adapt to an NFL scheme? Is the, like how quickly?
But
can
even
they do that?
we
Is
don't
it
even
game
know
one?
if it is an NFL scheme. I guess
we don't.
We don't.
I mean, I don't know. We saw what younger Belichick ran at Washington, and he did a good job turning around that defense quickly. So there is kind of proof of concept there. We're turning a defense around in a good amount of time, but this is a really tough matchup for them week one.
Tough matchup. And they we talk about our portal additions and all the new guys. They have a ton of new guys at UNC.
They have a ton. So,
yeah. Let's move to GT at Colorado because this is a much more fun game in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
This is on Friday night. Colorado 4.5-point home dogs. And it's weird. Like GT kind of has to have this one. Like,
yeah, I mean, they kind of do. It's weird.
The ACC needs this one.
And this is a brutal week one game. Like going up in elevation on a Friday night to play a team that has coaches who can coach and get their guys ready and some talent, but you don't know what it's going to look like. There's very little film on some of these guys. This is a really tough test.
Who's the starting QB for Colorado right now?
I think it's Salter. I think they're going Caden Salter. He's transferred from Liberty.
Well.
Who it is, like he can make plays. There's a Caden Salter that is going to be really good at Colorado, and there's a Caden Salter who's going to lead Colorado to a 4-8 season.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know which one we're going to get. So this is a big test for Georgia Tech.
I think the offensive line is still going to be a question at Colorado, but Salter can neutralize a little bit of that, like with his legs. He's not like a crazy runner, but he can definitely.
He's shifty. He's a little bit. He's like Kyler Murray without the top end speed. Like he's really shifty, but he doesn't have that like next gear as a runner.
I mean, this is the question. They lost two elite. They lost the Heisman Trophy winner, and they lost an amazing college quarterback. Like, say what you want about Shador, he was awesome as a quarterback in college.
Yeah,
it's a lot to replace. And GT, like, they've got their quarterback back. They've got their running back. They've got a decent offensive line, and their defense should be okay. Like, they need this one, but I think at 4.5, Sam, I got to take the points and hope that GT pulls out a 3-point victory.
Yeah, and something that we haven't talked a lot about.
Caleb disagrees with me. Hammer GT.
So Colorado is a good defensive football team, and they return a lot of guys there, and they've recruited defense really well. And we don't really talk about it because we think of them as the high-flying offense, and they were really bad defensively in Prime's first year. They were 16th in adjusted EPA per play last year defensively. Like, they're a good defensive team. Their front seven's good. So
they lost Shiloh, though.
They lost Shiloh. Like, what are we going to do? Now, how much of that was Travis Hunter can lock down a side of the field? That help them? Like, probably a lot. But this is a good defensive team, too.
Interesting.
And so what's the over under for this one? I'm scrolling on DK now to see what it's gone to. Friday night. Let me get all the way over there.
This is
52 and a half. Like this might be an under 52 and a half game.
This is a good point. The Haynes will be fresh. And because that's a big
That's
part
huge.
of like Haynes.
That's
game.
huge.
Like he will take a beating throughout the season, but in game one, he'll be fresh. And the elevation thing is a thing. It is a thing. I would hope that Georgia Tech's been training for that in the Atlanta Heat. But these, go ahead. Do you have anything else?
Something to think about that is like, do they run him like they do against Georgia? They're not going to do that game one. Like they're not going to design run 25 times for Haynes.
Probably not, because they were just trying to any means necessary to get that win.
Yep.
These are the last few I have, and we'll just kind of go through these quickly. Syracuse against Tennessee. I'm not expecting much here from Syracuse. They lost a ton. Tennessee will have one of the best defenses in the SEC. UT likely wins and covers, in my opinion.
Yeah, this might get pretty ugly.
Okay. Other games: Auburn at Baylor. Fun game. Baylor, they're underdogs here.
Yeah, and we're taking Baylor.
Yeah.
Give me Baylor. We're hammering the Bears in this game. Hammering them.
Well, Baylor money line there. Nebraska at Cincinnati, kind of a fun matchup. Cincinnati 7-point underdogs at home. I don't like Satterfield. I won't be betting on this game. If I had to pick, I'd probably take Nebraska.
I am taking the over, and I'm taking it with sincere confidence.
Okay. All right. That's the way.
Both defenses are not very good. I like both quarterbacks. Sorsby for Cincinnati is a really good quarterback.
He's not bad.
Don't talk about him. Yeah, he's a fun guy. And then Raiola has game after game has gotten better. And I think playing in that stadium for Raiola, who idolizes Patrick Mahomes to an almost religious level, I think these offenses are going to pop.
So this one's an Arrowhead, you're saying?
It's in Arrowhead.
And he idolizes Mahomes. Like, yes, it's kind of a fun aspect of it.
This will be a fun game. Like, have this game on your screen.
Nebraska at Cincinnati. And then but it's in a neutral site. I put at, but it's in a neutral site. Boise State at USF. This is not at a neutral site. This is in Tampa or Orlando. Who plays? No,
they're in Tampa.
UCF is in Orlando. USF is in Tampa. USF 6.5-point underdogs at home on Thursday. Thursday game. Early in the week, we get some fun, Sam. This is a little bit of a dangerous game for Boise.
And they played Georgia Southern last year, and Genty ran for like 7,000 yards in that game, but Boise's defense let up a lot of points. They're playing a road East Coast game against a good South Florida team as well, who has a lot of talent. This is a scary spot for Boise State. This is a scary spot.
I mean, this could be like playoff over week one if they screw it.
I mean, it could. Yeah. Like this is, and I think that also is like kind of what gives you some confidence for Boise State is almost every game they play is a playoff game. So they have that mentality going into every game. That's why if I'm just doing a straight pick 'em, I feel good about Boise State. 6.5 though. That Georgia Southern game last year got a little scary. And they had other moments last year where they defensively, they didn't play up to their potential.
And losing
a little scary.
One of the best running backs in the history of college football has to count for something. That has to, not having Genty is a huge change for Boise State. It is not the same Boise State team.
Yeah.
And so you got to look out for that. ACC wise.
One quick sorry on Boise State. I have them 11th in the country in adjusted returning production. So they lost two guys who got drafted. They lost their defensive end who got drafted, and they lost Genty. Everybody else they bring back.
Okay.
So yeah, they lost their two best players, but they brought back everybody
guys that
else.
got drafted. How many guys get drafted off of Boise in a given year? It doesn't have there aren't that many.
Except it's the year that they play Tech and they have 6 guys get drafted.
Right. Exactly. 2010 they had a million guys. In the ACC, ECU takes on NC State. In Raleigh, Coastal is going to UVA, and Cal is going to Oregon State. The ECU game's on Thursday, so something else to watch on Thursday night in addition to Boise. Anything from those games? Does Cal, Oregon State interest you at all?
I mean, Cal, Oregon State interests me from a disaster porn standpoint. That's going to be a fun game in that regard. The line has moved 3.5 points towards NC State in that game. And that was going to be a close game. That's a heated rivalry. ECU won that matchup in the bowl contest when they played. So the money is certainly moving towards NC State, either that or there's some significant news out of Greenville that's not looking good for the Pirates. So something to keep in mind with that matchup.
I want to take a quick beer break before we move to VT Corner, Sam. You're drinking a Jack and Coke over there. How's it going down?
It's going down pretty good. It was a long, dude. It was a long Monday.
Well, you had to travel back from NYC, then you had to work this morning, so you did have a long day.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the Broken Heels Pineapple Hazy IPA. This is from New Trail out of Pennsylvania. I think this is the one that's where the Little League World Series is, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's from Williamsport. Yeah, it is. Brewed in Williamsport, PA. This is really good. Their Broken Heels is one of the most popular beers that they have. They have a double Broken Heels, and this is the pineapple. And I think this is the best of the three. Like, rather than the single or the double, this pineapple, like, it's not overly pineapple. You just get like a little bit of it. But I've never been the biggest fan of New Trail. This is really good.
Nice.
I do very much enjoy this beer. So the New Trail Pineapple Broken Heels, I'll give this a 4. I'll give it a solid 4.0.
Nice. Pineapple is an underrated beer flavoring, I think.
I like pineapple. I've always been like whether it's like a rum and pineapple or even like, you get like a daiquiri or something. Pineapple's good, man.
Yeah.
I like pineapple. It goes like the High Noon pineapple.
High Noon pineapple goes great. Yep.
Yeah. All right. VT Corner. Our NYC episode just hit the feed today. The audio wasn't obviously as good as you get like tonight. It was very loud in that bar, but hopefully you enjoyed it. We went over the 10 Hokies you need to know going into 2025. And I do have a graphic this is just to reiterate. We're not going to go into all of the reasons why. You can watch the other pod to get that. But at 10, we had safety Tyson Flowers. At 9, I put the right side of the offensive line and Tomas Rimac and Montavious Cunningham. At number 8, we had running back Terrion Stewart, who would have been higher if he hasn't been a little banged up in camp. At 7, I put Donovan Green / Cam Seldon because this is that wide receiver 1. Now, wide receiver 1 could be Aiden Green, but these were the 2 newcomers. And that's kind of what this list is. It's a combination of importance and how new they are to the team. And I should say about Tyson Flowers too, someone we didn't talk about on Saturday, Sam. IBM could have been in that 10 spot.
Yeah.
Like Isaiah Brown Murray, they keep talking about. And like even today, I was like, shit, I should have put him in.
Well, he was slotted in as a starter, like kind of from day one.
Yeah.
And that's something to always, when you're getting in transfers, that's something to watch for. Who are the guys who are being brought in to compete for a spot? And who are the guys who are brought in and are given that spot immediately? That either means A, they didn't have anybody else to play there, which wasn't the case for the Hokies in defensive back, or it means they really, really like this guy.
Yeah. So that's on me. Like I should have, like, I'm not saying like there was a lot of competition. Like I'll read through the honorable mentions, but we didn't put Kyron on the list because we know who he is.
Kyron.
Like
Yeah.
This is Hokies you need to know. John Love, Tucker Holloway, Aiden Green, Al Tuner, Christian Epling, our long snapper, Quentin Reddish, Jaden Keller, Benji Gosnell, Kelvin Gilliam. And then a couple guys we didn't talk about on Saturday either. Takai Heath. He could end up pushing. We're going to talk about him in a second. Isaiah Brown Murray, PJ Prelu, and Braden Bennett, the other 2 running backs. Because if you look at the last 5, Sam, Kamari Copeland was number 6. Then Dante Lovett, our CB1 at number 5. Ben Bell at number 4, defensive end. Running back Marcellus Hawkins, who has ascended from Division II to being our RB1 most likely going into the South Carolina game. They really like his ability. He's very well-rounded. So he came in at number 3. James Joncom, number 2. From linebacker at Eastern Michigan to the edge. He is going to be very important this year. And number 1 on your screen, Caleb Woodson, because of the impact I think he will have. I think a lot of people agree like he could be the biggest piece of our defense this year.
Yeah, I did a blog for All ACC discussion. I do that every year. And one of the things is like ACC Defensive Player of the Year. I took my shot and I was like, Caleb Woodson is probably going to get over 100 tackles. And in this defense, if Tech blitzes more than they did last year, he could have 10 TFL.
Yeah.
Like this, he could put up a really, really impressive season. And the way that he plays, he's going to pop on film. He's the guy to watch for the Hokies for me. He's a clear number 1.
And I should say about Tyson Flowers, like me liking IBM and maybe he should be the 10, like Tyson Flowers, the reason I put him on here is because of the veteran nature and his leadership. And the fact that the matter is that safety position, him and Reddish are going to notch a lot of tackles. So it was really like, I was thinking like, which safety should I put on here? And I kind of like, maybe IBM slipped through the cracks a bit, but like those three guys, they're all right there. Like they should be, you want to know who they are. And that's what the whole point of this exercise is, to tell you guys who you should know going into the year.
Absolutely.
Let's get to the notes here because I had a couple of just camp stuff. Ryan and Billy did a show today. It got released this afternoon. Ryan Castle has been at the practices, giving interviews, checking out the guys, all that good stuff. And he's been doing a great job. And he has done a couple episodes with Billy, just kind of talking about what he's seen, what he thinks about the team. And they've been really good. So I have some notes from him. I have some notes from Colby's coverage over at 247, but we'll get into that in just a second. We got a comment on the screen. Please let us have good linebacker play. We have had more linebacker coaches than functional linebackers over the last 3 years.
And that is absolutely true.
Yeah, it really is. So I wanted to talk about Takai Heath first. He's been dealing with just a minor injury. He's fine, just kind of getting some rest ahead of week 1. But Colby has indicated he is pushing for that starting slot.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys we heard about last camp too.
Yeah.
And now it's a new offense coordinator and you're still hearing about him. So the dude's got some pop. I think it's going to be really important because I see if this team does more up tempo, Philip Montgomery said coming in, he wants to mix up the tempo. If they do more up tempo, that's your position that you're kind of subbing in and out during drives really quickly. So even though we feel like Cam Seldon is the slot number 1, your backup slot receiver is probably going to get a lot of run in. Yeah. And so if you feel good about that guy backup and you don't take a step down and you can stay fresh and run up tempo, that takes your offense to a new level. And so I feel really good about hearing good things about that position specifically.
Right. Because we've heard a lot of good things about Seldon, and competition is key. I mean, Pry harps on it, but like having two guys that are like kind of pushing for that spot, because maybe Seldon could play outside too, but we've heard about him in the slot. So that's important. As far as the other injuries go, Pry was optimistic on Wiggins. He said he's progressing really well and he should be fine in a couple of weeks. Probably not for game 1, but he'll be fine eventually. Brody Meadows is good, according to Pry. No worries health-wise. We need that 6th offensive lineman because he is 6 probably. Him and the kid from Auburn, Muskrat.
Jaden Muskrat.
Yeah, those are probably the next 2 guys up, but good to hear Brody Meadows is just fine. Fontel Mines had media availability late last week, and Sam, he was essentially gushing about Aiden Green.
Yeah, I think like you talked about, like, oh, we don't really know. Like Aiden Green's wide receiver 1. He's the go-to target in the team. I think he's going to lead this team in targets. I think he's going to have the most plays. He's the dude. Like capital T, capital D.
I hope that you're right. And because wasn't he most improved in spring or something? No, that was, or was that Heath? Well, regardless, Fontel was just preaching about his leadership, preaching about him and Donovan Green, kind of like teaching the younger guys how to watch film, and essentially said Aiden Green is the unquestioned leader of the wide receiver group.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really positive for this team and program that has been kind of needing leadership over the past few years, starting to cultivate guys like Aiden Green, like Caleb Woodson, who have been in the program for multiple years, is a really promising sign for the growth year over year. Let's hope it shows up in the win column, though.
Other notes from Coach Pry. Reddish has taken a step. So one of the guys we mentioned in our 10 guys, Reddish is going to be key back there. He got thrown into the fire as a true freshman. Him and Flowers, I feel really good about the starting safeties. And we also have Cash and Ellis, and that's another thing Pry mentioned, the depth. Yeah. And that Cephas, he said Cephas has a good plan for how to mix those guys in, which is, I like that, man. I mean, like there are so many guys, and we've emphasized how many they brought in. Like, I hope they can work them in.
And you're talking about winning time, end of the 4th quarter, team with fresh legs. It's going to be a little bit better. This team has to, big boy programs rotate players.
Yeah.
And we got to be able to rotate players. We're not able to do that the last 2 seasons. And that's how you end up losing close games.
The last note on the safety room was Pry did say Bass could avoid a red shirt. It could happen.
He is.
You talked about him on Saturday.
They're going to have a hard time keeping him off the field. My guess is they're going to see what he looks like against ODU and Wofford in a little bit more extended playing time and then make the decision. Tyson Flowers, they feel good about. Reddish is a returning guy. But if they feel like they need a pop on defense, Jordan Bass has looked really, really good.
It's just so many safeties because Koval's in there too, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
There's a lot.
I mean, I think if you're looking to build the program for the future, redshirting him makes sense, especially since he didn't do a lot in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at the win now phase, and you're like you need to take your home run swings.
Yes, you do. When asked about Terrian Stewart and his injury, Price said he kind of mentioned the depth of the running back room. He didn't avoid the question. He just said, yeah, he's been in and out of the boot and kind of working back. But he mentioned PJ Prelude. He mentioned Braden Bennett. He just said that room has really good depth. He didn't seem concerned whatsoever.
And I think we said it on the last Two Deep show, Pete, but I feel like if he was really needed, you might see him out there. But the fact that he is in and out of the boot, doing his rehab, doing his training and stuff like that makes me feel like they feel good about Hawkins. They feel good about Bennett. They feel good about Prelude. I'm not worried about production from the running back room right now after what I've heard in camp so far.
I think we're going to see Prelude against South Carolina. I think
sure,
he's going to get a couple carries. Like it may be more than a couple. I don't know. Pry wants 3 backs. Yeah. And if Bennett's good, then he'll be one of those backs. But if he's not, I think Prelude's the next guy up.
And Tech needs guys running at 100%. Like Terrian Stewart at 80% doesn't help Virginia Tech beat South Carolina.
No. He's one of those backs that like he's a tackle breaker. He's a ball buster. Like he cannot be at 80%.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's get to this comment from Austie. Genuinely asking, does anyone feel better about this year than last? I remember being pretty shaky about the hype at points before last year. Having a head coach as OC will be the biggest boost. I think I agree with that. I mean, the hype last year, I think it made even the most diehard Virginia Tech fans a little bit nervous, like talking about the playoff and stuff. I think few of us thought that was realistic.
Yeah, it was like the best case scenario was like 10-2 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Do I feel better about this team than last year's team heading into week 1? Like, no. Like, you don't. Like, the ceiling doesn't seem as high. However, I definitely
knowing
feel
what you know now about
knowing what knowing what I know now, I don't think they took a major step back talent-wise. I think you're going to miss a couple guys, but talent-wise, like, I don't think this team is that much lower, if at all, than last year. And I think they got deeper in a lot of position groups. We have more question marks, though.
Yeah, we do. Virginia Tech versus South Carolina. It is now back to 8 points. Last I checked, Sam, South Carolina is favored by 8 in Atlanta. Rasul Faison got cleared today. Never a doubt. Never a doubt.
Not really.
I mean,
Tech's going to play like 3 30-year-olds this year or something.
I mean, we don't get done those type of favors. I put it on X earlier. Like, the football gods aren't going to let us get away with that. And so Rasul Faison, their running back, got cleared. He came over from Utah State, had a nice little average. It doesn't really change my outlook on the game. I've assumed all summer they were going to have him. And so let's talk about the game just a little bit. We're not going to preview our preview because on Wednesday night, we're going to go back in depth on South Carolina. But I will say, South Carolina fans, based on the comments we're getting, based on things I'm seeing, they have no fear. Absolutely not an ounce of fear that we could beat them.
I mean, what do you think they're going to wear to the parade?
I mean, it's a tough call, Sam. They feel like they've already won a natty, I think.
I
give
from somebody
somebody
who's been there. Pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Pump them a little bit. Because even if you beat Virginia Tech, you got a whole lot ahead of you. And I like Virginia Tech in an underdog role this year. Like Austin was asking, do you feel better? Like, that is one thing that I do feel better about. Mm-hmm. Being a little hungrier this year, having that underdog mentality. I I don't know if that results in beating South Carolina on Sunday. I would probably say it doesn't. But throughout the year, I like Virginia Tech going forward with that mentality.
We'll talk about Maddie's question in a second. I just want to put it up on the screen. It's about Virginia Tech going over 7.5. And me and Sam put out our record predictions on the season preview. He was at 7 and I was at 8.
Mm-hmm.
So take that information for right now. We'll come back to that in a second. So much of the South Carolina game is going to come back to the quarterback battle. That is Kyron against Sellers. They're both going to be under pressure, in my opinion. Like Kyron maybe more so than Sellers, but they're both going to have to get out of the pocket. They're going to have to make some plays. And the few explosive plays that each team makes, if they make them, that could very well be the difference. And it's going to be because of what these quarterbacks do.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what Tech is going to do offensively. We know pretty much what South Carolina is going to do. And they have some explosive players on that team. I mean, Nick Harbor is their X factor for the season almost. If he lives up to his athletic potential on the football field, because he's a very good track star, then it does take them to a college football playoff level as a team. If he's not, then Lenore Sellers has to be Superman. And I don't know if you can survive a 12-game SEC schedule with Superman at your quarterback, because he might get Cam Newton comps, but turn on the film and he's not Cam Newton.
And it's a lot of games against a lot of tough teams.
Yeah. So I think if you're Virginia Tech, make them drive the field. I don't think this is a team that's going to dink and dunk their way down the field, right? Make them work for it. Less busted coverages. If they run an option, for God's sake, play your role on the option and don't everyone dive at the halfback like you did against Vanderbilt every single time. Like, know your role. If Tech does that, they'll be fine defensively. I don't see Tech giving up 40 points or something in this game.
One of my favorite things I've heard just over the past couple of days is that Sellers has really improved in the passing game thanks to things that like Mike Shula has installed. And to me, that's like music to my ears, because yes,
he's not
turn him into a passer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just turn him into a passer. I would much rather that against Dante Lovett and our back end than watching his ass run all over the place like he did against Clemson.
Yeah. And I think it's not because he's a bad passer. Like he was in certain situations last year, a very good passer of the football. I don't want like the read option quarterback run. Here's the issue is going to be like 3rd and 8. Can you get off the field? 3rd and 8, you cannot allow him to scramble for 9 yards.
All right.
That's going to be, there's a lot of factors in this game. I think that's one of them. That's what he's good at though. Like that's just what he does.
I mean, he's great at going off script. And I think Kyron had some of that too. I mean, we saw it 2 years ago. We saw it against Miami last year. So I said it in my hot take on the season preview. My hot take was that Kyron's going to outplay Lenore Sellers in the game. And if that happens, we're going to stand a very good chance of winning, because so much of this game is going to come down to which quarterback makes those 2 or 3 extra plays. And so we can cut it off there. We got a full hour to do this on Wednesday to preview the game and kind of go through a little bit more of the depth charts and stuff. But man, we're here, dude. It's Monday. I'm off Friday because I'm flying down to the game. Like, I only got 3 more work days before we get to watch some football.
It's crazy. It's absolutely, like, it happens so fast. Don't take it for granted. Watch every single game you see on TV, because the season flies by.
Yeah, it really does. All right, College Football Monday is brought to you by Roback. I am wearing my Roback hoodie right now. You can see that little dog right there. Most comfortable hoodies in the game. You can use code 2DEEPVT to get 20% off your order. They have the new Metallica-themed shirt called the Sandman. It is sexy. They got the VT Game Day shirt. They got the Hokie Tracks polo. They got the Lane Stadium, the Commonwealth. So many great styles. I have a couple of them myself. And the most comfortable polo you'll own as well. On the golf course, those things breathe. And Sam knows. You swing that club, there's no bunching.
It's the best golf polo you got.
Yeah,
best one.
Absolutely. So use code 2DVT to get 20% off your first order. Women's stuff too. They got the dresses, they got the tennis skirts, joggers, the quarter zips, the white hoodies that they put out not too long ago too. Those are awesome. Roback Crave Activity. All right. Without further ado, it's time for playoff picks. I will add Sam's to the screen first. And like I said before, these are divided up by conference. They are not in any particular order, although they are probably tiered downward in terms of where we think the strength of the conference is.
Yeah. So
Sam, tell for the listeners who are watching,
where do I want to start? I'll start
in the SEC and tell them who you got.
I think Texas is. I have Texas, LSU in my SEC title game. That's why I have those two. Take them in whatever order you want to win that game. And then behind them in the SEC, I have Alabama, who I think is due for some progression this year, and I have Texas A&M, which feels so stupid and like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to let prior years impact how I look at this team that is largely fits the bill for what a elite college football team looks like.
Yep.
Elite offensive lineman, great pass rush, returning quarterback, tons of playmakers on the outside. They should be healthier at running back this year.
Can I tell you what scared me off of A&M?
What?
They had 3 away games in a row. Now, there was a bye week between the one, but that's 3 away games in a row and all against pretty tough teams.
Yeah.
So the SEC, if you look at any of the schedules, they're all tough, but that scared me off a little bit. And just Marcel Reed and I toyed with them. They're not in my playoff, but they were very close.
I think there is a situation where they are sitting at like I could see that Texas A&M game being for a trip to Atlanta for the SEC title. That's kind of what I'm envisioning. And if that's the game that doesn't let them get to the SEC title, I still think they'd be in the running for the college football playoff more so than, let's say, Miami, who missed a trip to the ACC title game last year because they lost late at Syracuse. Right. So that's kind of what that's part of my rationale for Texas A&M as well.
All right. In the Big Ten, what do you got?
Penn State, they're clear number one for me right now. Ohio State's talent, I think, is really good. They have a very, very tough schedule, but I think they're going to have enough opportunities to really make a statement and win, and they get Penn State at home. I think that's huge. And then Oregon, I have them sneaking in. A lot of people are down on Oregon this year, but the amount of talent that they're talented all over the place. I think they got the best transfer running back in Mekhi Hughes, and they're going to be pretty good. Clemson, Miami, 2 most talented ACC teams. I have them playing in Charlotte. I think Clemson, though, by far and away.
2 from the ACC, notable.
Yeah. And then I have 2 from the Big 12 because I think teams are going to separate in that conference more than others think, and those are my top 2 in the Big 12.
Wow, 2 from the Big 12. See,
I think it's going to be weird. Like the SEC is going to cannibalize itself. They're not going to put in 9-3 teams, and I don't know how many teams are going to win 10 games.
I think they could put in 1 9-3 team. But that doesn't mean you're going to get more than 5 or, like 4 is probably what it's going to be, but who knows, man.
I'm swinging with the fences with that. I think the difference is Notre Dame is not in. And
that's the one of the biggest things from your playoff right here.
That's the linchpin. I could see Notre Dame starting 1 and 2.
I hate their schedule.
Their schedule sucks. It's so bad. And they could start 1 and 2, and that doesn't even include the game that they have against Boise State that they very well could lose.
Because they play, if people don't know, they play Miami at Miami. They play A&M early in the year, Boise later, and then Navy and NC State, which I threw NC State on there. But like it's not a bad team. Mm-mm. Like they're competitive. So that's 5 tricky games and some very difficult games for Notre Dame. You don't have Notre Dame in yours. You have Boise coming out of the G5. Was there any contest for you in the G5 with
JMU? JMU is the one. I'm not sold on them going unscathed, and I don't think that they have enough marquee games to be able to put together a resume that would rival Boise State's, even if Boise State goes 11-1 again.
All right, let me put mine up here. So a couple differences. In the SEC, I also have Bama, Georgia, and Texas. Wait, you didn't have Georgia?
I didn't have Georgia. No, I think 9-3 Georgia, and I think they lose their 3 tough games.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going, because I just feel like the Bama 9.5 over is going to hit. I feel like the Georgia 9.5 over is going to hit. And then Texas, like I have them 3rd, and that's like by design on this chart because like The defense is going to be good. I'm just not so sure about the offense in Arch Manning. But I still think they sneak their way in because they have one of the easier SEC schedules.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tennessee, also an easier SEC schedule. They're going to have a tremendous defense. I think Aguilar will be able to do enough. So instead of Sam's Texas A&M or LSU, I went with Tennessee and Texas, or Tennessee and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And Tennessee, like, I almost did A&M. Their schedule is just bad.
It is.
So I took Tennessee, and I'm not in love with it, but there's going to be 4 teams from the SEC. And yeah, I could have gone LSU, considered it. I could have gone, I don't know. There's a lot of teams I could have gone with. Ole Miss, for example, but I don't really like Ole Miss, and I think LSU could fall flat on their face. So those are my 4. In the Big Ten, I had the same as you: Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon. Oregon, I think the negativity has swung so far down. We're coming back up, and I just don't think, if you look at the Big Ten, Michigan, Iowa, Nebraska, Indiana, Illinois, USC, Washington, I don't think any of those teams are going better than 9-3. Most of them are probably going 8-4 or worse.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think it's a pretty clear-cut top 3 in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree. I think Indiana and Illinois are the 2 question marks there.
Nebraska, is doing this
Nebraska's
push.
getting
Illinois,
this push. Yeah, I think you're looking at a bunch of 8-4 teams, though.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think so as well. And then in the Big 12, I picked one team. I picked Utah. I'm banking on the Whittingham comeback. I like Devin Dampier. Their quarterback, Colby, says take a Devin Dampier Heisman future.
He might need to, yeah.
Arizona State repeating. They caught lightning in a bottle a little bit last year. No Scattaboo. Yeah. I know I like Sam Leavitt a lot, but and then you had Texas Tech, which they could clearly be in this position.
I'm buying them buying their team.
And also in the Big 12, throw a freaking dart. I mean,
that's fair enough.
Throw a freaking dart. And I'm throwing my dart at Rice Eccles. And in the ACC, I have Clemson and I have Georgia Tech as my 2 teams. Yes, I have 2 teams coming out of the ACC. Georgia Tech, I chose over Miami because Miami's schedule sucks. I mean, they got Notre Dame, they got Florida, and then they got to go to Virginia Tech and to Pitt at the end of the year. Hate that. So
yeah, that's true. I'm banking on Carson Beck being a better quarterback than people.
I like Carson Beck.
Social media thinks he is.
It's just the schedule is not.
The schedule's tough.
In the G5, this is where I got a little wacky, Sam. I went with Memphis.
Let's get wacky.
And the reason is that Boise State game at USF could be a loss. Boise's got to go to Notre Dame. If that's a loss, that means Boise needs to be perfect to get into the playoff the rest of the year. And there are problems on that schedule that they could fall victim to. And so that Boise, I think the losses of Genty is too much. And if you look at Memphis, they get their toughest games at home, including Tulane. The rest of the AAC is not that tough. I guess they're just calling it the American now, but the rest of their conference isn't that tough. Silverfield has been excellent the past 2 years with Memphis. I do fear Navy in the AAC championship.
We got to talk about the
I fear Navy, but I think Memphis can do enough and win the 10 or 11 games they need to get to the playoffs. So I'm going with Memphis as my G5 pick. And then I put Notre Dame in there. Hate their schedule, but I think even if they get 2 losses, I think the committee still puts them in.
The brand will carry Notre Dame. And I think out of the G5, just to put a bow on it, I think it's Boise State, JMU, and then Memphis, Tulane, Navy out of the American. I think those are your top 5. Their schedule
Liberty needs to go
crap.
undefeated.
They could go 12-0, and I still don't think they're in.
No way, really?
Yeah, I mean, look, they will not play a team that is like higher than 80 in SP+.
It's a terrible schedule. It really is.
They got nobody on there.
And there's no more Caden Salter there either.
Yeah. I got some I'm not as they're not going to cakewalk through even that schedule.
All right, well, we did it. We have
it is here. It is here.
First episode of College Football Monday of the season. We're excited to be back next week. We're figuring out how we're going to do this because I'm flying home Monday. Sam's flying home Monday. We will have an episode. We're just trying to figure out who's going to be on it, who's going to be hosting, where we do it. we'll figure that out. But this was a lot of fun, Sam, breaking in the national coverage. And man, this week 1 is loaded. Week 2, 3, and 4 also have a ton of good games. Can't wait to see you and Billy Ray and Pat all down in Atlanta. It's going to be a blast. But we'll be coming back in just 2 days for the South Carolina preview.
Yeah, Pete and I have been in front of a camera talking so much the last month or so. You're not going to be able to get rid of us.
I talk to Sam more than anyone in my family.
That's probably fair. Yeah.
At least for the past couple months, I think that's true. This is a note, just last note before we close out. Sam Brumfield is at Memphis now. There you go.
Yes.
A little linebacker action for you. Carson Beck will do well in the ACC, but it's still Miami, and you just can't trust them. We agree. We agree.
Fair.
Well, Sam does have them in the playoff, but I think we both agree. Hard to trust. Hard to trust.
Very much so.
So that'll do it for tonight's show. And until next time, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.